Ilia Topuria is ducking Arman Tsarukyan, and the UFC is protecting Ilia Topuria in his lightweight title. That is a fact. I know a lot of people aren't going to like to hear it. That is a fact. And a recent clip of Ilia Topuria on the Nelk Boys podcast was a complete and utter embarrassment to the lightweight division. But that's not all. We're going to check out that clip, but that's not all for this video. The entire lightweight division is ducking Arman Tsarukyan, and fans somehow think it's okay because of a made-up narrative with no evidence that Arman Tsarukyan missed weight, which we're going to go through the one shred of evidence to prove that claim in this video and debunk it in this video. Let's jump into it, because Michael Chandler is trying to duck Arman Tsarukyan kind of in a way, but he's just really co-signing other people ducking him. Completely pathetic and embarrassing. Justin Gaethje needs to retire. Dude's begging for a title shot that he does not deserve and complaining about a meritocracy. Paddy Pimblett doesn't want the smoke. Ilia Topuria doesn't want the smoke. Nobody wants the smoke from Arman Tsarukyan, who, I will declare it right now, Arman Tsarukyan is the uncrowned lightweight champion. Just telling you guys facts right now. I know a lot of people are going to be upset about it, but let's jump right into it, okay? This one really rubbed me the wrong way, boys. Michael Chandler, MMA. Definitely not scared. Nobody wants that nothing burger of a fight, especially not the champ. Ilia realizes we are in the attention business. Nobody pays attention to that other guy. I could spend 40 minutes on this alone. Dirty Mike, the cheating little bitch who wasted 3 years of his career for a man who didn't want to fight him. This dude right here, who's talking about, yeah, Arman's a nothing burger fight, bro. What's this dude's record? When's the last time he got a win? This dude is a bum who's like, yeah, man, I had Oliveira on my back and I jumped up in the air and did absolutely nothing in front of Kid Rock and Elon Musk, bro. This guy right here would bend over and spread his cheeks for Conor McGregor. He's got one dude on his mind. He's still begging to fight him. I am not kidding. And I did an entire video about this. This dude right here said, yeah, I want to fight Conor McGregor on me and my wife's anniversary. It does not get any more pathetic and humiliating than Michael Chandler. And here he is saying, yeah, man, Ilia doesn't want a nothing burger fight. Man, this guy's a nothing burger. We're in the attention business. Nobody gives a fuck about you, Michael Chandler. Nobody cares about Michael Chandler. He's a bum. Nothing more. Nothing more needs to be said. Let's look at some of the responses. Top response. Chandler, you're like 1-17 in the UFC. No one cares about you. Who were Chandler's wins? His last win's Tony Ferguson. Tell me I'm not smoking crack right now. This dude's last win is Tony Ferguson. The dead corpse of Tony Ferguson. And this dude's talking about Arman. By the way, Michael Chandler, Dirty Mike, doesn't like Arman because Arman told him years ago, you could have lost 3 fights by now and not actually got paid rather than wait out for Conor McGregor. This dude's a clown. I mean, I could sit here and just roast Michael Chandler all day with facts. The fact that he grovels to another man, begging to fight him, wasting his career before finally returning and getting dominated by Charles Oliveira and getting absolutely destroyed by Paddy Pimblett and having no real UFC career to speak of other than a fluke KO over Dan Hooker, was losing to the dead corpse of Tony Ferguson. And now he thinks he's entitled to talk about Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria. I mean, seriously. Someone said rare Chandler W. I mean, that's insane. Says the guy whose UFC career is about to expire and get him one-way ticket home. Yeah, I mean, this is really pathetic. This is really embarrassing. Chandler needs to fight like Fairzy M, get brutally slumped by Fairzy M, and then he can retire, go home to Nashville, Tennessee, pull up those pictures of Conor McGregor fully nude in the mirror, and you know Chandler's beating his meat to that. Okay? That's the truth. Anyway, let's move on to Justin Gaethje. This guy's delusional, man. He's crying about meritocracy. He cries because he thinks he's deserving of a lightweight title shot on a 1-fight win streak against a short notice Rafael Fiziev. He thinks he's entitled to a title shot. And here he is. And what I find so funny about these dudes, they look at the toughest matchup and they make excuses for why they don't want to fight him. And a lot of them aren't even connected to reality. But let's listen to the first clip where he talks how boring Arman is.
I think it's a great matchup for anybody. I think obviously they want to keep Arman away from him because Arman's boring. Nobody wants to watch Arman fight anybody. And then, outside that, Holloway's now, obviously they fought before. I think Holloway at 155 is a different animal. And maybe Topuria is too. So I'm excited that these guys have come up to lightweight and made the most exciting division in the world more exciting.
So there he did say one thing that was factual. They want to keep Arman away from Ilia Topuria because it's not just Topuria that doesn't want the Arman smoke. It's Dana White in the UFC that has ascribed Topuria as their new golden goose that they must protect at all costs. We saw it with Alex Pereira. He was aided and abetted by Dana White in the UFC to duck Magomed Ankalaev for years. Finally couldn't get away from him. Look what happened. We've seen it time and time again. But yeah, Arman's boring, man. I mean, talk about one of the worst arguments I've ever heard in my entire life. Yeah, Arman's boring. I'm not even going to really dignify it with a response. It's simply not true. But because Gaethje doesn't want to fight him and because Gaethje doesn't want him to get a title shot, he has to sit here and act like he's boring, which is the dumbest narrative I've heard in a while. Anyway, let's jump ahead because it gets worse. It gets worse. Not only does he talk crap about Arman in this video, he also talks about Paddy Pimblett. Yeah, I don't want to fight Paddy. I thought this was a meritocracy, man. The champion wanted to fight me at one point, man. I deserve it. I'm on a 1-fight win streak. I'm 1-1 in my last 2 and got brutally slept in the 5th round like a scrub. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but you get my point. Listen to this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, absolutely not. I mean, if that's the
I actually clipped out the question, but Brett asked him if he would potentially look at Paddy for an opponent to get a title shot. No, absolutely not.
The route that they want me to take, then I don't believe that they need me anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds petty or whatever, but
it sounds pathetic. It sounds entitled. It sounds like you're a little bitch. He doesn't even want to fight Paddy, who's on a long winning streak. If that's the path they want me to, if that's the path they want me to take, man, I don't think they need me. The path they want you to take. Think about how entitled Justin Gaethje is. The path they want him to take is to beat guys in the top 10 and go on a win streak to get a title shot. And he's bitching and moaning about, yeah, man, if that's the path they want me to take, man, I got to fight actual contenders and string together a couple wins to get a title shot. I'm done around here, man. What a fucking baby.
I'm number 3. I'm 3-1 in my last 4. The champ.
You're 1-1 in your last 2. You lost to Max Holloway. Max is more deserving than you.
Was calling to fight me.
A champion was calling. Like, listen to the argument he's making here. I know you guys can break it down. I'm number 3, man. That number means absolute jack shit. Yeah, man, the champion wanted to fight me at one point. Like, shut the fuck up.
Vacated. They bring a new guy in and give a guy that's 2-2 the fight. So if their algorithm and their math tells them just to use me until I get beat, then I'm going to have to really reevaluate what I'm doing here because no, I think it's I've signed up for a merit-based system. I have lived by that, and if they want to give Arman the fight, which Arman shit the bed, had the fight. I had the fight, but I took another fight for them. He had the fight.
You took that other fight and you lost. Merit-based system does not mean you get a title shot on a 1-fight win streak against a short-notice opponent where you didn't even look that great in the fight. And I was like, yeah, Arman shit the bed, man. We're going to get to the Arman narratives later in the video.
And pulled out because of his back hurt. I mean, those are 2 different scenarios. And so for me to get put in the same position as him and have to fight for my spot, then no, then I'm going to be upset about that.
That is some of the most entitled shit I ever heard. He's crying about potentially being in the same spot as Arman Tsarukyan, who's on a crazy long win streak, got injured couldn't fight for the title, weighed in as a backup, and is the true number one contender. He's got the number one next to his name. He's like, yeah, man, if I'm in the same spot as Arman, I got to fight for my title shot, man. I'm out of here. Retire. I think you already had enough CTE. Let's carry on.
Then I mean, I knew that it was a mistake. I knew that it wasn't like the UFC's doing. I knew it was kind of just just kind of what was happening because of.
So just for context, he's now talking about essentially Paddy entering the cage against Ilia Topuria. But I included this clip for one major reason. He starts crying. He ran out of camera frame to avoid being put on the same shot with Arman Tsarukyan. He didn't want to be in the same shot because he's like, no, they're trying to match me up with Arman. Let me run away from the camera. And he's crying about it. He was upset about it. Watch this.
The environment, with Joe calling him in. I was obviously upset. My nephew was there with me. I walked out with, both of my fingers in the air. At first, while he was doing the interview, they were trying to put me and Arman in a camera frame together because I was trying to exit. He was right behind me, and they were filming him, and I kept moving to get out of the way so they could film him. And then they kept readjusting and putting me in frame. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm," pointing at both of us two, saying he was trying to get us in a frame together. So as Paddy and him are in there, they're trying to put me and Arman in a frame, and I was like, "F you, get that camera away from me! You wish that you were gonna do this right now. Go f yourself."
Yeah.
Listen how upset he is. And Brett Okamoto. First off, Brett Okamoto finally got a guest on that has worse camera quality than him. He is terrified that the cameraman was going to put him and Arman in the same camera shot. What an embarrassment. And it gets worse.
Yeah. And I mean,
so it's just the directors, everyone's trying to make a show. It's again, I thought it was 100% merit based, but it's completely not 100% that. And I'm okay with that, and I get it. And luckily I fight so excitingly that it transfers over to being a merit based and performance and entertainment.
This man had 2 opportunities to win the belt already. He lost both of them, got finished in both of them, and now he's on a 1-fight win streak after getting brutally KO'd, and he wants to jump the line over guys who have actually put in work and are on a long win streak within the division. It's an absolute joke. Next clip we're going to go ahead to. He's like, man, I don't want to fight anyone and then get a title shot off of me, man. I don't want to do that. I won't fight anyone. That's not the position I want to be in. So wait a second. You don't want to be in title eliminator bouts? That's what you don't want to do?
How many more fights do I have to? If I fight fights where if they win to get a championship and I win and it's still I'm maybe gonna have to fight someone else. This is not the situation I wanted to get myself in, and this is the situation I'm going to keep myself from, and that's where we're at.
Yep.
Yep. You look like you're being held hostage, Brett Okamoto, with that shit camera quality. He doesn't want to fight somebody who, if he loses, they're gonna get a title shot. He doesn't want to be in a title eliminator bout. Makes a lot of sense. This dude is so entitled. He's crying, I'm gonna retire, man. If I don't get my title shot off a 1-fight win streak against a short notice opponent when I've already had 2 title fights in the past and lost both of them via finish. And Brett Okamoto, obviously a Gaethje fanboy, obviously a Gaethje friend. He's like, yeah, man, you deserve it, man. You deserve it, bro. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on from Gaethje. Let's move on to Paddy Pimblett really quickly. Because Paddy Pimblett is also ducking Arman Tsarukyan. There's only one guy in the lightweight division that has something good to say when it comes to a potential fight with Arman Tsarukyan. We're going to get to that person later in the video as well, but we'll save that for later. Listen to what Paddy has to say.
Just Arman's a very good fighter, but no one cares about him. You know what I mean? People just look at him and think, yeah, you shit yourself to fight in Islam. You talk a big game, but you don't back it up. But everyone knows Justin Gaethje's a fucking banger. You know what I mean? Everyone knows that if you're fighting Justin Gaethje, you're gonna have a fight. So, and he's a legend. You know what I mean? Arman isn't. So I'd love to fight another legend than Justin Gaethje.
Does anyone ever find it hilariously suspicious when these guys are saying, yeah, I don't want to fight that guy, I want to fight this guy, And the guy they don't want to fight, who they lobby these claims like they're boring or they're not a legend or they make up these arguments, is always objectively the tougher matchup. Like, even if you're the biggest Paddy Pimblett fan in the world, you know Gaethje is the far easier matchup for Arman Tsarukyan or for Paddy Pimblett. It's just a fact, okay? Then Arman Tsarukyan. I think I just butchered that, but you get my point. It's always like, yeah, I'd rather fight this guy. I'd rather angle for this fight. Yeah, give me this guy. You know, when Topuria comes up, the UFC's like, we're going to give you Charles Oliveira instead of Arman. Charles Oliveira, who's coming off a win over Michael Chandler, who's a literal scrub. But it's always the case. And he's like, yeah, man, I'd rather fight a legend of the sport. If you beat Arman, you are undeniable the #1 contender. But Arman's also the toughest matchup. And it seems like the toughest matchup, nobody wants to fight. I've just always noticed that. I don't know if you guys always have noticed that. When someone's angling, if it's between these multiple fights, there was, nah, that guy's kind of boring. That guy did this. That guy did that. I'd rather fight this guy. And it's the guy they'd rather fight always, we'll say 99% of the time, is the easier matchup. The guy they don't want to fight, the reason, the excuses, I don't want this guy because of this, that, X, Y, Z, always the tougher challenge. Always the tougher challenge. Anyway, let's check out what Ilia Topuria had to say on a recent episode or Nelk Boy stream or whatever these dudes are doing. I think this is particularly egregious, man. And I've been a big Ilia Topuria fan. I've been a believer for a while. It's crazy how you can really telegraph what Ilia Topuria wants to do. And if he fights Gaethje, it's one of the biggest embarrassments in UFC history, not only for Topuria and his legacy, for the UFC as a whole as well. That's one of the worst title shots ever. And listen to the excuses for why he'd rather give up his belt than fight the true #1 contender. Because what Ilia wants to do, Ilia knocked out Volk. Okay? Solid win. No one's taking that away. He defended his belt once and then went up and fought Charles Oliveira. Now he's going to try to defend his belt against Justin Gaethje. And if Islam wins at welterweight, he's going to try to move up to welterweight. So you got one decent title defense at featherweight. You got 0 decent title defenses at lightweight. And now you want to become triple weight champion. You don't even deserve that opportunity. It's crazy. Listen to this, though.
Who you don't know that
Hold on, this is way too loud. Let me lower this down.
maybe he could pull out from the fight. That's not something good for us. It's not on my back. Bro, I don't fucking care. I'm the world champion. I'm never gonna give him a chance to fight for the title. I will be like, listen, if that's the case, take my belt.
If that's the case, take my belt. But he wants to fight Gaethje. He wants to fight Paddy Pimblett. Again, you guys notice a trend here. But Topuria to say openly, yeah, I'd rather give up my belt than fight Arman. You've already given it up. Arman Tsarukyan is the uncrowned champion in my book.
I don't do it.
Ilia.
And then we have an Arman meme. We'll just play it out since it already came up on the screen.
Stop running, Ilia. Stop running, Ilia.
The fans need to be on Ilia Topuria as much as they were on John Jones. Because Arman Tsarukyan, are you guys ready? You guys ready for a hot take? Arman Tsarukyan deserves an undisputed title shot far more than Tom Aspinall ever has. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. That is a fact. Anyway, Ilia says he'd rather give up his title than fight Arman Tsarukyan. And he lays the blame at, oh, well, Arman, he doesn't show up because his back hurts and he missed his opportunity. He missed the Islam fight and blah. Excuses to not take on the toughest challenge in the division. That is what is going on here. And the UFC has anointed Topuria their next McGregor, their next cash cow. So they are going to oblige him. Okay? If Topuria wanted the Arman fight, they would give him the Arman fight. But instead, he doesn't want it because it's the toughest challenge in the division. The UFC doesn't want Topuria to lose. They don't want to risk Topuria losing his belt. So they're playing WWE matchmaker. They're liable to give him Gaethje, then Paddy. which Gaethje should have to fight Paddy. Ilia should fight Arman. And then if Paddy wins, he should fight the winner of Ilia Arman. That's what it really should go on. But, I mean, it's just pathetic coming from a champion. And what's even funnier is, so you have people talking about, oh, the back injury. You have also people saying weight miss. Oh, why would he want to fight a guy who can't make weight? Arman pointed it out here. Another fun fact, Topuria regularly misses weight. So spare us the fairy tales about fighting with one arm. You pulled out from fighting Charles Jourdain. And he posts this. He posts Topuria pulling out from UFC 270 with weight cut issues. He also posts this. I did an entire video. Topuria clearly missed weight for UFC 317. And the commission just covered it up. It's all on video, very clear to see. I'll link that video down in the description if you don't believe me. And also, him missing weight for Cage Warriors and couldn't win a belt because of it. You know what's funny? All the fans and a lot of people a lot of fighters are using it as an excuse too. Oh, I don't want to fight Arman. He pulls out of fights. He missed weight. This and that. Let's take a look at Arman's UFC career. Okay? Let's take a look. Okay, he has the Islam Makhachev fight canceled. Okay, injury. Tsarukyan injury, because there is no other evidence to support a weight miss claim. Then when else? Okay, a fight against Moicano got canceled. Oh, that was Moicano. Oh, UFC 257, a fight against Nasrat got canceled. Thank God for Nasrat. Oh, Haparas withdrew due to illness. A fight against Davy Ramos got canceled. Oh, it was canceled due to coronavirus. He's never missed weight in the UFC. He's pulled out of one fight in his entire UFC career. That goes all the way back to 2019 when he took a short notice fight against Islam Makhachev. So in 6 years, he's pulled out of one fight. 6 years he's pulled out of one fight. And his entire career, he's not missed weight. How does that compare to Ilia Topuria? Let me take a look. So first off, he missed weight against Charles Oliveira. I will die on that hill. Already made a video. Already linked it down below. Let's see what else. So Josh Emmett, this bout just got rescheduled. Edson Barboza, I believe, was a Barboza injury. Charles Jourdain, he missed weight. He missed weight right here. Okay. All right. So he already has one weight miss. But then what was that Cage Warriors fight that Arman was talking about? We have this Cage Warriors fight for a title. Let me take a look. Oh, look. Topuria weighed in at 139 pounds for a bantamweight matchup. So you guys tell me, who's the pullout merchant? Who's the unreliable guy? When Arman's pulled out one time for an injury, and Topuria's pulled out multiple times. Now, granted, only one of them was in his UFC career, but a much shorter UFC career than Arman Tsarukyan. Much shorter UFC career. The only evidence to back up a claim of an Arman Tsarukyan weight miss is Dana White at a press conference. Because Dana White said that Arman missed weight at a press conference at UFC 317 because Arman weighed in as the backup, made weight as the backup for 317's main event. And Dana was asked, is he next in line? Because he is the #1 contender on a long win streak.
With Arman Tsarukyan weighing in as the backup, is he getting back in the good graces with you and the...
Well, it's not about getting back in the good graces. It's about, the guy had the opportunity to fight for a title and didn't make weight. You couldn't fuck up anything worse than that.
I would argue beating your wife in a club in Mexico at 53 years old would be fucking up more. Let's continue.
But he proved, now that he's not fighting for the title and he was here as a backup fighter, he made weight. So it's definitely a step in the right direction.
So fans cite this. The Topuria fanboys, the people defending any fighter ducking Arman. They're like, look, Dana said that Arman missed weight, man. He must have missed weight. He slipped up. He missed weight. Dana saying this makes me believe that it's false even more. Okay? Dana White wants fighters to fight injured, especially if they are a main event of a pay-per-view. Because a main event of a pay-per-view getting canceled, especially on short notice, hurts Dana's pockets. He has to pay other fighters to step up. He is pissed about it. They were pissed when Conor pulled out of the Chandler fight with his broken pinky toe. They tried to force him to fight. They tried to force Aldo to fight with a broken rib against Conor McGregor back at UFC 189. Okay? They have a clear history of doing this. So, Arman got injured, they probably said, look, Arman, we need you to fight, man. We need you to step up. And maybe, just maybe, I'm just speculating here, maybe someone said, well, even if he wanted to fight, he can't make weight now because of the injury. The weight cut could have been derailed because of the injury the morning of the weigh-ins, the afternoon of the weigh-ins. They're trying to figure it all out. I don't understand. Even if, okay, let's say Arman, I don't remember the exact timeline, but let's say Arman got injured Friday morning or late Thursday night. And he's telling the UFC, look, I'm injured. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to stay in the fight. How is he going to cut the weight by exercising and stuff like that? Running on a treadmill, wearing a suit, getting in the sauna, if he has a back injury. So I think it's somewhere lost in translation because Arman's never missed weight. He's never had any weight issues in his entire career. So now all of a sudden you want me to believe for the biggest fight of his career, he's going to fake an injury because he can't make weight? I don't buy it at all, and nothing out of Dana White's mouth do I ever believe. Okay? Dana saying it makes me believe it even less. I mean, how well documented can that be? I mean, he was talking about John Jones agreed to fight like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So Dana says a lot of bullshit. He was angry that Arman pulled out, and he's lashing out here at the UFC 317 press conference. Now, the last thing I want to highlight in this video, because this is honestly an embarrassment. Gaethje's really acting like an entitled little bitch. Topuria wants to fight Gaethje over Arman, wants to fight Paddy over Arman. That delegitimizes the belt, makes it a fake lightweight title. And Dana White here wants to protect his golden goose from Arman Tsarukyan. He made weight as a backup, okay? He didn't collect a check from UFC 311. He didn't get his opportunity at UFC 311. That's enough punishment, okay? And Dana just doesn't want Topuria to have the risk of losing that title against Arman. He'd rather watch Topuria knock out Justin Gaethje, a veteran of the sport, a legend of the sport, and grow his star power even more because Dana wants it to be WWE, and it's pathetic, man. But one dude I do want to highlight is Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker here speaking facts. Listen to this. He talks about Arman Tsarukyan.
And then that leaves with my man Arman. That's the fight I want. That's the fight that makes sense. They've told him one more. He's turned down Gamrot, who's ranked one before me. Like, let's be honest. Like, the guy's a walking bag of sand. But
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But Dan Hooker makes up stuff about IVs. But either way, he starts to actually break this down factually.
He is a very good fighter, and now all those big name guys they've got a good excuse to not fight him. You know, like Ilia said, he's not going to fight him. The UFC says that he needs one more, and between Arman and me, there's Oliveira. They've already had that fight. Holloway, I don't think that fight would make a lot of sense for Holloway. So yeah. And I think they're going to do Holloway, Oliveira. They're going to do Gaethje for the title. That leaves Arman in the lurch. He's stuck fighting me, brother. He's got to fight me to get back in the mix and to get a title shot. And that's always the fight I want. And not because he's a prick and I hate him, but because I genuinely think that he's the hardest fight. And all those big name guys have like an excuse to not fight him. Because I think he is the best at winning fights. Like, he's not necessarily the most dangerous fighter. Like, Oliver is very dangerous. Gaethje is very dangerous. I think he's the best at winning fights. And so a lot of these guys have a justifiable reason to avoid fighting him. And so that's been my approach since I first stepped foot in the UFC, is that I want to fight the best guys. And I think Arman's the best guy. So that's the fight that I want, and
I love that attitude. I want to fight Arman because he's the best guy. The thing I don't agree with is justifiable reason. Arman pulled out of one fight with an injury. You pulled out of your last fight, Dan, with an injury. So they're making up bullshit excuses not to fight him. But either way, Dan Hooker kind of calls it nail on the head. He says, look, all those top guys have an excuse not to fight him, so they don't want to fight him because he's the toughest matchup in the division. He's the best in the division because he is the uncrowned champ. They all know that. They're just making excuses not to fight him. That is a fact. And Dan Hooker says, look, I want to fight him. Give me the toughest guy. Love that attitude. Absolutely love that attitude. So I wanted to highlight it. Lightweight division is really getting awfully pathetic, boys. It really is. And it's really driving me nuts, which is why I had to make this video. Topuria saying he'd give up his title before fighting Arman. Pathetic, embarrassing, humiliating. Let me know what you guys think about all this down in the comments. Like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next video.